The first mistake the Krell Dominion made was believing that empty space meant abandoned space. The second was believing that silence meant surrender. Admiral Exorcus stood upon the obsidian command dais of the triumphant claw, his talons resting lightly on the rail as the fleet advanced beyond the last recognized navigation beacon. Before them stretched a vast stellar region stripped nearly clean from galactic charts. No trade corridors. No sovereign markers. No traffic. Just a void labeled with an archaic warning, untranslated by modern doctrine because no one had bothered to preserve the fear behind it. Restricted zone. Entry discouraged. Exorcus' mandibles flexed in amusement. Discouraged, he repeated. How quaint. The Krell Dominion did not recognize discouragement. They recognized force, and force was what they brought. 87 warships slid through the boundary, hulls bristling with plasma cannons, gravity lances, and boarding spines. They had erased empires for less territory than this quiet swath of stars. Behind Exorca, the bridge hummed with disciplined confidence, until the stars began to dim. At first, it was subtle. A gradual loss of background radiation. Then the navigation hololet stuttered. Stars blinked out one by one, not fading, but snapping off like extinguished candles. Sensor anomaly, the science cast reported. Stellar output dropping to zero across multiple systems. That's impossible, said the navigation officer. Stars don't just. They do here, Exorca interrupted. Continue forward. The fleet pushed deeper. Communications crackled. Long-range scans returned nothing but black. No cosmic background radiation. No gravitational lensing. No electromagnetic noise. It was as if the universe itself had gone deaf and blind. Unease crept into the bridge. Admiral, the tactical officer said carefully, subspace relays are offline. We are isolated. Exorca's eyes narrowed. Isolation meant vulnerability, but also opportunity. A region cut off from the galactic web was ripe for conquest. Launch reconnaissance drones, he ordered. Full spectrum sweep. Thousands of drones deployed in perfect formation, their engines flaring briefly before vanishing into the darkness. Seconds passed. Then minutes. No data returned. Signal loss across all units, the science cast whispered. They didn't fail. They were removed. Exorca felt the first prick of something unfamiliar. Not fear, irritation. Who dares interfere with a Dominion fleet? He growled. As if in answer, every screen on the bridge flickered to life. No translation lag. No encryption handshake. A single visual feed appeared. A human face. Old. Lined. Scarred by time and stress. Gray stubble clung to his jaw. One eye was clouded and dead, the other sharp and unamused. He wore no uniform, just a worn jacket with burn marks and faded patches stitched over older scars. He looked tired. Turn around, the human said. The bridge erupted in alarmed chatter. Exorca stepped forward, towering over the display. Identify yourself. The human sighed, as though disappointed. That's the problem, he replied. You don't recognize anyone out here. Exorca's mandibles clicked. This region lies beyond any registered sovereign boundary. By right of expansion. You cross 3 warning layers, the human interrupted. Automated beacons. Ghost buoys. Dead star markers. You ignored all of them. Exorca sneered. We do not fear relics and myths. The human nodded slowly. Yeah. None of you ever do. The signal cut. For half a heartbeat, nothing happened. Then a Krell cruiser vanished. Not exploded. Not torn apart. Gone. Its mass signature collapsed into nothing, leaving a hollow where gravity itself seemed confused. Report! Exorca roared. Ship Glorious Mandate. No debris, no energy spike, no subspace wake. The tactical officer said, voice shaking. It ceased to exist. Before Exorca could issue new orders, another ship vanished. Then another. Panic rippled through the fleet. We are under attack! Someone shouted. From where? Another screamed. There's nothing there! Exorca bared his fangs. Return fire! Saturate the volume! I want every weapon blazing! The Dominion fleet unleashed annihilation, plasma storms, antimatter warheads, kinetic kill swarms, pouring destruction into empty space. Nothing answered. Then something arrived. Space folded inward, collapsing like crushed metal, and a ship emerged at the heart of the Krell formation. It was wrong. Its hull was asymmetrical, scarred by centuries of combat. Armor plates overlapped in brutal, inelegant layers. Old impact craters had been welded over rather than repaired. Hand-painted symbols marked its flanks, kill tallies, unit insignias, crude humor written in a language Exorca's translators struggled to parse. Burned into its prow, not projected, not polished, were words carved so deeply they seemed part of the ship's bones. Last argument of kings. No shields flared. No warning tone sounded. The ship fired once. A relativistic rail slug tore through the fleet, punching through 3 cruisers before detonating inside a carrier. The explosion bent space, shredding vessels kilometers away. Half the Dominion fleet died in less than a second. Exorca staggered as alarm screamed. What weapon is that? He demanded. Not a weapon, the science cast whispered. A statement. The human ship transmitted again. Same face. Same tired eyes. You should have listened, the human said. This is the part where you learn why nobody comes back. Behind the last argument of kings, more shapes emerged from the darkness. Dozens. Hundreds. Human warships, old and new, sliding into reality like predators rising from deep water. Exorca finally understood the truth. This space was not empty. It was guarded. And the guards were very, very angry. Captain Elias Ward leaned back in the captain's chair of the last argument of kings, cigarette ash falling onto a chipped console, completely unconcerned with regulations. Around him, the human crew moved with lethal precision, calm and practiced, while the Dominion fleet screamed in panic on every sensor. Clean hit, his gunnery officer reported, voice dry. They didn't even see the rail slug coming. Ward exhaled smoke in a slow, deliberate stream, eyes narrowing as he watched the chaos unfold on the main display. They never do, he said. The last argument of kings was more myth than ship, patched together with a century of scavenged tech, welded armor, and sheer bloody ingenuity. Officially it didn't exist. Unofficially it, and dozens like it, patrolled what humans called the Quiet Zone. The galaxy called it the Forbidden Void, a place where explorers vanished, trade guilds refused to venture, and history forgot to track the missing. Humans called it the Fence. Ward keyed the broadcast channel. Calm. Measured. Deadly. This is your second warning, he said, voice carrying over subspace with surgical clarity. You do not belong here. The Krell Dominion panicked. Their flagship, Triumphant Claw, roared back. This region is unclaimed. You have no authority. Ward cut him off. A slow, dry laugh echoed across the void. Authority? We tried that. Once. He gestured toward the live feed of what remained of Dominion explorers, burned-out wrecks, shattered hulls, and bodies floating in decompressed space. We sent diplomats. Poets. Scientists. We offered friendship. The bridge of the last argument of kings remained calm. Ward's smile vanished as the full weight of memory settled in. They didn't come back. Some lessons can't be taught politely. So we adapted. We survived. And now you're here. A ripple of dread passed through the Krell fleet as more human vessels phased into reality, not in formation, but in staggered, unpredictable patterns. Patched frigates, jagged destroyers, carriers shaped like flying fortresses. Each one screamed human design, brutal, functional, terrifyingly clever. Some broadcast music over open comms, a mocking serenade of defiance. Others transmitted silence so oppressive it felt alive. Ward's tactical officer, Commander Rees, leaned over, voice soft and amused. Hey boss, dibs on the shiny one. Ward allowed himself a small, humorless smirk. Try not to scratch the paint, Reese. The humans attacked like survivors, not conquerors. Every maneuver was bait, every retreat a trap. Krell's ships that pursued found themselves caught in gravity snares that shredded hulls. Boarding actions turned into death sentences, Marines laughing over open comms as entire decks were vented into the void. Exorca, aboard his flagship, watched in disbelief. You hide in shadows. You are cowards! Ward's voice cut through the void like steel. Calm. Deadly? No, Admiral. We're farmers. The Dominion officers froze, puzzled. Farmers? Ward leaned toward his screen, eyes cold. We plant. We wait. Then we harvest. At that moment, the last argument of Kings shifted position, spinning like a predator circling prey. A single human railgun fired, and 3 more Krell cruisers disappeared. Your historians whisper about ghosts, Ward said quietly. Your maps have blank spaces. Your elders warned you. And still you came. The Krell Dominion scrambled desperately. Exorca screamed orders, but every command was met with failure. Every weapon discharged into nothing. Every ship that advanced fell into traps so intricate, so cruelly elegant, it was as if the humans had written the universe itself as a weapon. Ward sat back, cigarette dangling. You're learning slowly? Good. That makes it more fun. Behind him, Reese leaned against a bulkhead, cheerful and ruthless. Boss, should we play the next song over comms? Ward's eyes glinted with cold amusement. Let's give them a taste of human hospitality. Music blared across the Dominion fleet, a chaotic, deafening symphony of ancient human instruments and static interference, turning panic into disorientation. And the humans attacked again, precise, lethal, and horrifyingly clever. The Dominion realized, far too late, that they were not dealing with mere ships. They were dealing with a species that had learned every trick, anticipated every assumption, and turned fear itself into a weapon. The galaxy had underestimated humanity. And humanity was about to remind them why they never should. Desperation makes conquerors reckless. Admiral Exorca, watching the remnants of his fleet evaporate under human ingenuity, made a decision born of panic. He ordered every surviving vessel to converge on the coordinates of what his sensors identified as a human shipyard deeper in the quiet zone. If he could destroy the source of this nightmare, perhaps he could claw back some shred of control. The humans let him. They even guided him there. Or so it seemed. The Dominion fleet surged forward like lambs charging a predator's den, blind to the horrors that awaited. As they crossed the final threshold, the fence activated. And everything changed. Stars flickered back into existence, too close, too bright, bending the fleet in unnatural ways. Gravity twisted and inverted. Time itself became a weapon, some ships aged centuries and seconds, hulls rusting into dust before crews could comprehend their own death. Others regressed, bodies reversing into malformed, screaming forms. Space itself ripped apart like paper under the weight of human cunning. On board the triumphant Claw, Exorca's flagship, reality broke. Sections of the ship flickered between existence and nothingness. The walls pulsed, the floor shivered under impossible forces. His crew wailed, shrieking as bones rewound into soft tissue, then hardened again into unrecognizable shapes. Ward observed from the bridge of the last argument of Kings, calm as ever. Around him, the crew moved as if cleaning up a mess they'd made 1,000 times before. Looks like they brought themselves to the slaughter, Breeze said, voice eerily cheerful. Ward didn't reply. He watched Exorca's image flicker onto the human tactical screen. Mandibles cracked, eyes wild with confusion and fury. What are you? The Admiral bellowed, voice cracking through static. Ward crushed out his cigarette in the ashtray. We are your ghosts. The ones who survived your mistakes. We are the reason your maps have blank spaces. The reason your historians whisper warnings. The thing your elders told you to fear, and you didn't listen. A final transmission burst from the Krell flagship, a desperate, incoherent data dump, hurled blindly into subspace as the ship fractured into temporal shrapnel. One message survived the collapse, burned into every channel and every memory of the Dominion survivors. Avoid humans at any cost. The quiet zone sealed itself again. Silence returned. The void was empty, and yet heavier. Deadlier. Ward exhaled slowly. Clean sweep, he muttered. Ruiz leaned on the railing, smirking. They'll need a few millennia to figure out what just happened. Ward didn't respond. He stared into the dark, where the last Dominion ships had been. Humanity had set a trap not for survival, but for a lesson. Underestimate us, and the universe itself becomes your executioner. In the quiet zone, time returned to normal. Stars twinkled. Space breathed. And somewhere, far beyond, the galaxy whispered again. Humans. Never invade. Never provoke. Never, ever forget. Because when they retaliate, it isn't war. It's a reckoning. And the Dominion had just learned the meaning of that word. Years later, on a neutral trading station at the edge of charted space, an old man nursed a drink in a dimly lit bar. Smoke curled around his grizzled features, the kind of face carved by both time and combat. Across from him, a young alien merchant, trembling in nerves and habit, leaned forward. Is it true? The alien whispered, voice barely audible. That humans don't expand, don't conquer? The old man's lips twitched in the hint of a smile. He took a slow sip of whiskey before answering. Son, humans don't want your space. Never have. Never will. But why? The alien pressed, voice quivering. Do they build such weapons? Ships that can erase fleets, trap time itself, machines that. The old man set his glass down and met the alien's gaze. His eyes were cold, but not cruel. Because the galaxy taught them a lesson. He paused. The memory of that day, the quiet zone, the collapse of the Dominion fleet, flashed across his mind like a wound that never healed. They sent explorers, diplomats, poets, and we killed them. His voice was quiet now, bitter, filled with the weight of centuries. They underestimated us. They thought kindness made us weak. They thought silence was compliance. They were wrong. The alien shivered. But aren't you afraid? The old man laughed, low and humorless. Fear? No. They learned to fear us already. That's enough. He stood, shoulders heavy but steady, and walked to the viewport. Stars glittered in the distance, cold and indifferent. He traced a finger across the glass, as if drawing invisible lines in the galaxy. We don't conquer. We don't subjugate. We survive. And when the predators come sniffing, we remind them why nobody ever returns. The bar fell silent. Other patrons, human and alien alike, sensed the weight of the words. Outside, the stars shone normally again, but somewhere deep in the quiet zone, the fence remained intact, invisible and deadly, a monument to human ingenuity and brutality. The old man turned back, a faint smirk tugging at the corners of his lips. Monsters learn fast when the prey bites back, he said softly. And humans, we never stop biting. Somewhere, far beyond, the galaxy still whispered the same warning. Avoid humans at any cost. Because when humanity defends what is theirs, what little they have, they don't just fight. They annihilate. They outthink, outlast, and outmaneuver every expectation. They turn the hunters into ghosts. They turn the universe into their hunting ground. And they always win. Humanity F***, yeah, ***.